Google just released 3 AI updates that most people completely missed, but together, they reveal something much bigger. Individually, each of these tools is impressive, but when you look at them together, a much bigger pattern appears. Google is quietly building an entire AI-powered creative stack, where music, visuals, design, and code all connect into one continuous workflow. In this video, I'll break down exactly what these updates do, why they matter, and what they reveal about where Google's AI ecosystem is heading next. Because once you see the bigger picture, it's hard to unsee it. Let's start with the biggest announcement, Lyria 3. This is Google's newest music generation model, and it represents a genuine leap forward from what came before. Lyria 3 is now live inside the Gemini mobile app, and it's also powering DreamTrack, which is part of YouTube's Creator Toolkit. So this is not a research paper or a limited lab demo. This is Google deploying music AI directly into consumer products that millions of people are already actively using. Here's what Lyria 3 actually does. You describe what you want using natural language. You can specify a genre, a mood, a tempo, or even the language you want the lyrics in. And then Lyria 3 generates the entire track, including lyrics, vocals, and full instrumentation, completely from scratch. You don't need to write your own lyrics. You don't need to bring pre-existing audio. The model handles all of it. Compare that to Lyria 2, which launched last May and required significantly more manual input from the user. The usability improvement here is substantial. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Text is not the only input you can use. You can upload an image or a video, and Lyria 3 will generate a piece of music that actually matches the visual content. Think about what that means for a second. Google is essentially treating audio as a first-class creative modality, not an afterthought. Music generation, text generation, and visual understanding are starting to operate within the same unified system. On the technical side, Lyria 3 outputs audio at 48 kHz using 16-bit PCM stereo. That is production-quality audio. That is not some compressed demo format designed to sound acceptable on a phone speaker. These are full arrangements with real structure, multiple instruments, coherent vocals, and the kind of complexity that makes a track actually sound like a song rather than a generated loop. The current output cap is 30 seconds in the Gemini app, but within that window, the quality and layering are noticeably advanced compared to earlier versions. Now, there's something else built into every track that Lyria 3 generates, and this is important, especially for anyone thinking about this from a creator or platform perspective. Google has embedded its Synth ID watermarking technology directly into the audio waveform. You cannot hear this watermark. It's imperceptible to human ears, but software can detect it, and critically, it survives compression, speed changes, and even being played through a speaker and re-recorded through a microphone. If you want to verify whether a track contains a Synth ID watermark, you can upload it back into the Gemini app. This is Google's technical answer to the attribution and copyright questions that music AI inevitably raises. There's also a real-time dimension to Lyria that most coverage has glossed over. Google DeepMind introduced something called Lyria Real-Time, which is a fundamentally different experience from the standard generate and wait workflow. Instead of waiting for a complete output, the system generates audio in 2-second chunks streamed over a WebSocket connection. The model continuously references previous audio to maintain consistency while also responding to live steering inputs from the user. You can actually shift the mood or change the instrumentation while the music is playing, and the model adapts with a control latency of under 2 seconds. That is a completely different creative dynamic. On top of that, there's the Music AI Sandbox, which is aimed at musicians and hands-on creators. You can take a simple hummed melody or a basic piano line and have Lyria expand it into a full orchestral arrangement. You can feed MIDI chord progressions and get vocal choir outputs. You can swap instruments using text prompts while preserving the underlying melody. This is the model functioning less like a vending machine and more like a creative collaborator. How does this stack up competitively? Suno raised $250 million last November and leans into catchy, viral-friendly music with features like multi-stem track splitting. Udio focuses on studio-grade fidelity and supports longer-form tracks reaching up to 15 minutes. Google's current limitation is the 30-second cap, which is real. but their advantages are speed, multimodal input, and the fact that Lyria 3 is baked directly into the Gemini ecosystem. That integration advantage is significant, and it compounds over time. Now, let's shift to Pomelli. This is Google's AI marketing tool from Google Labs, built with input from DeepMind. It launched in October 2025 as a public beta targeted at small and medium-sized businesses, and it has been steadily expanding its capabilities since then. The new feature coming to Pomelli is called Photoshoot, and it addresses a very real and expensive problem for smaller businesses. Professional product photography costs real money. You need studios, lighting setups, photographers, post-processing time, and sometimes stock licensing on top of all that. Photoshoot lets businesses upload an image of their physical product, choose from a selection of visual themes and templates, and then generate polished marketing images that look like the product went through an actual professional photography session. These images integrate directly into Pomelli's existing campaign workflows, and they're built on top of something called the Business DNA Profile, which captures a brand's identity, tone, and visual style. So the outputs are not generic. They're supposed to reflect your specific brand aesthetic. This is clearly aimed at e-commerce sellers, small retailers, and product brands that don't have access to professional creative teams. In January 2026, Pomelli added animated asset creation through VO 3.1 integration. A photoshoot is the next layer on top of that same foundation. Pomelli is still in public beta, but given the pace of iteration, a broader release feels close. Now let's talk about Stitch. Stitch is Google's AI design tool. It launched at Google I/O 2025 as a rebranded version of Galileo AI, and it has been gaining capabilities fairly steadily since then. It already supports Figma export across its agents, and earlier this month, Google released an agent for early-stage design exploration. Now, in the latest development builds, a new agent called Hatter has appeared. Google is specifically labeling this as an agent, not a model, which matters. The distinction suggests that Hatter is intended to handle multi-step design tasks that require reasoning, rather than just generating a single output on request. This likely connects to something called deep design, which has surfaced in earlier builds. Think of it as a design-focused version of deep thinking, where the system reasons through user interface flows, design constraints, and layout systems step by step before producing an output. Two other features that have also appeared in Stitch builds are worth mentioning. The first is automatic App Store asset generation. Designers building mobile apps can now generate ready-to-publish screenshots, descriptions, and app icons without switching to another tool. For independent developers or small teams, that is a meaningful time saver. The second is native MCP integration, meaning Model Context Protocol support, built directly into Stitch's export menu. This allows Stitch to generate an API key and connect directly to tools like Cursor, Claude Code, and Gemini CLI. Third-party connectors for this already exist in the community, but a first-party implementation dramatically lowers the barrier. Designers can pull their Stitch outputs straight into their coding environments with minimal friction. When you step back and look at all of this together, Lyria 3 can generate full songs with vocals, Pomelli can create professional product photography from a single image, and Stitch is introducing AI agents that plug directly into your development workflow. Google isn't just releasing individual AI tools anymore. They're building an integrated creative ecosystem where audio, images, design, and development all work inside the same AI infrastructure. And that shift matters, because the creators, developers, and businesses who understand these systems early are the ones who gain the biggest advantage. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to subscribe, because I regularly analyze the newest AI tools and updates so you can stay ahead of where the technology is going. And if you want to explore more powerful AI platforms and workflows, check out the full AI tools playlist linked in the description, where I break down the tools creators are using right now to build faster and smarter. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.